Hey friends, I'm so excited about today's video. Today I'm going to be bringing you two brand new, super easy dinner recipes. Both of these are using chicken. So when you're in that dinner rut, when you're tired of the same old ideas, this video is going to help get you by. First, we're going to start with these roasted chicken drumsticks. I love these because they are super budget friendly. I got that big old pack from Aldi. I think it was $6 or $7. And as you can see right now, all I'm doing is I got my chicken drumsticks into a big old bowl, patted them dry really well, added a little bit of olive oil all over, and then I'm adding in my seasonings. I added in some sort of dry rub that I had, some lemon pepper, of course salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. It looks like a ton of seasoning going on here, and some Italian seasoning. But once I mix everything up really well and get our drumsticks coated, it's not overly seasoned. These are perfect. They have so much flavor, and they are so juicy the way that we're going to cook them. So we're going to go ahead and massage all of our seasonings and olive oil into our drumsticks. Want to make sure everything is nice and evenly coated, and if you want to do this and let these sit in the fridge for 30 minutes, these will be even better. Then we're going to need a baking sheet, and you want to use one with a wire rack. That's what's going to make sure our skin gets that crispy texture. And I like to just go ahead and put a piece of foil underneath mine just to kind of catch any of that grease and stuff that comes out. Just makes for a little bit easier cleanup. But now we're just going to get our drumsticks placed on here evenly. And we already have the oven preheated at 425, and these are going to take about 40-45 minutes. We do want an internal temperature of 165. I tend to bake my drumsticks a little bit higher than that, and they still stay juicy. That's just kind of how we like them. So you can temp them just until, just until however you like them, but you do want to flip these over halfway. So I just time mine for about 20 minutes. Get them out, flip them over with some tongs, then add another 20 minutes or so, and these come out perfect every single time. They remind me of roasting a chicken. A lot of y'all know I love to do that. It's one of our favorite meals, but this is just an even easier way to get those same flavors. Pair this with some mashed potatoes and a veggie, and you have a super easy dinner. Alrighty, y'all, so we are cooking puff pastry chicken pie tonight. This recipe is actually in my cookbook. Look how delicious it looks. It is so good, and believe it or not, it looks kind of fancy, but it is super easy to make. So thought I'd bring y'all along tonight for supper, and let's make this. So right now I just have a little bit of olive oil in my pan. This is about a cup of diced onion, and we are just going to saute that up until it's soft. Also, by the way, in my cookbook, in the recipe, this part actually calls to add celery and chopped carrot as well. I don't have either one of those tonight, so I'm just going to leave them out. But obviously they're delicious in there if you have them, or if you're somebody who doesn't like any of these things, the onion, celery, or carrot, just leave it out and it'll be perfectly fine. We're going to add in a couple more veggies here in a little bit. Yes, Mr. P is back here. He said if you had some frozen onions in the freezer, frozen celery, frozen carrots, any of that would work as well, or frozen veggies that we're going to see here in just a little bit too. It's been a long time since I feel like I've cooked with y'all. Let me know down in the comments. How y'all doing? What are y'all up to? Is it starting to cool down at all where you are? We're in North Carolina, as most of y'all probably know, and it started to cool down a little bit, kind of just in the mornings and evenings. Like it was a little bit chilly this morning, but then it was like 80 degrees. So you start out wearing a jacket and then you're, hot by the afternoon. I'm ready for it to cool down. I'm ready for all the fall foods, all the fall stuff. Darren and I sat out by our little fire pit last night, and Hayden too, for probably 3 or 4 hours? 3 hours. So we're here for it. All right, our onions are pretty soft, so I'm actually just gonna go ahead and remove these. All right, next to that same pan, we're gonna add in 3 tablespoons of butter. Just let that melt down. All right, next I'm just gonna sprinkle in about 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And grab my whisk. Just whisk everything in. All right, next I'm gonna whisk in about 2 cups of chicken broth. I'm gonna kind of add it slowly and keep whisking. You can see we're starting to thicken up a little bit. I did turn my stove up just a little bit, and I'm going to continue to whisk. I'm going to let it thicken up just a little bit more because we're also going to add some heavy cream here in a second as well. Alrighty, now we're going to add in 1 cup of heavy cream. And again, we're just going to whisk that in. Alright, we were not recording, but I just added 1 teaspoon of poultry seasoning. We're going to add some black pepper. I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt since we do have a good bit of chicken broth in there. Not much. We're gonna whisk all of our seasonings in. And of course you can add whatever other seasonings you would like. I'm gonna add in just a little bit of onion powder. We're gonna add those onions back in here in just a second. And just a little sprinkle of garlic powder. I'm gonna bring back over those sauteed onions. And this is where those other veggies come in. Honestly, if you have a bag of frozen peas and carrots, that would be perfect in here. I don't like peas that much, so we're gonna add a little bit of corn and green beans. I know that might seem weird, but it's actually really good in here. Just whatever veggies that you like. We're gonna stir those in. And then lastly to the mixture, I have about 2 cups, maybe a little bit more, of rotisserie chicken. Y'all know I love a rotisserie chicken. All right, and now we're just gonna stir everything to combine. At this point, it would be really good to go ahead and taste it, see if you need to adjust your seasonings at all, if there's anything else you wanna add in. Now we're just gonna bring our mixture over into our baking dish. And now we're gonna need 2 sheets of puff pastry. So we're just gonna start by using a pizza cutter. And we're gonna cut our puff pastry into about 1-inch thick strips. I'm gonna try to explain this the best that I can, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, then just, you can look it up on YouTube. If I'm not the best at explaining it, somebody out there is. But we're just gonna lay our strips in here. You can leave the sides. Some people will do that. I'm just gonna tear them off to make sure they don't burn. So we're just gonna lay our strips all down, leaving a little gap. I hope y'all can see that. Leaving a gap just like that in between each one. I know some of y'all out there probably already know how to do this. You're like, Jen, we know. But some may not, so. And I love this dish because it's delicious, of course, but it looks so pretty. I mean, it looks like you did a lot more, you know, hard labor than what you're actually doing. This is actually super easy to make. All right. There we go. I'm gonna scoot those down a little bit. Okay. Now we're gonna take that second sheet of puff pastry. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna unroll it over here. So now here is the fun part. What we're gonna do is go in every other strip and pull it back. So every other strip that we just laid down, we're gonna pull it back. Just let it fall over your pan. Okay? Now we're gonna take our horizontal strips and lay it up against where we just laid it back, just like that. And of course, it doesn't have to go all the way across. You can add, you know, multiple little pieces like that. Once you have one row, lay it back down. Okay. And then basically we're gonna go back and do the exact same thing with the opposite strips. So now I'm gonna pick up that first one, pull it back as far as it'll go, and do the same thing until our whole pie is latticed. It's so pretty how it comes out. Now we're on our last one, so we're just gonna get it laid in there as well. All right, and the last thing we're gonna do before it goes in the oven, I just have a little egg wash, just 1 egg and some water. We're just gonna brush it all over the tops of our puff pastry. It's gonna make it look golden brown and beautiful. Brush it all on there really good. All right, we already have our oven at 375 this time. It's going in there uncovered for about 45 minutes. If you do notice the tops of our puff pastry kind of browning up too much, all you have to do is lay a piece of foil over your pan. You don't have to put it on there tightly, just lay it right over it and it'll be good. My favorite thing about this recipe, or any recipe using puff pastry, is just how golden brown it bakes up. It just looks so good, and it also tastes really good. This recipe could be changed up depending on your family's preferences on veggies and things like that. Super versatile and just super good. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you made it this far, leave me a pie emoji down there in the comments, just so I'll know that you stopped by today. I would love to say hello and see how you're doing, and I'll see y'all real soon in my next video. Bye y'all.